This episode on Curious Journey, the wife and I travel to the beautiful Myrtles Plantation and prepare to spend the night in one of the most haunted locations in America.
I got my nightlight and my holy water. I'm ready.
Located 26 miles north of Baton Rouge and 98 miles northwest from New Orleans, the Myrtles Plantation is surrounded by centuries-old live oak trees and features beautiful ornamental ironwork, hand-painted stained glass, exquisite gardens, and ghosts. In fact, its website bills the bed and breakfast venue as one of the most haunted places in America and a must experience for those interested in the paranormal. Built in 1796, the Myrtles has a long list of occupants as well as tragic events. Slavery, abuse, plagues, and murder are prevalent in its history, and quite possibly the reason for the house's permanent residence. No fewer than 17 active entities have been identified on the premises. A visitor may encounter any of them, day or night, inside the main house, out in the gardens, or even in their room. In fact, the range of experiences have run from near imperceptible sightings at the very edge of periphery to minutes-long full conversations with the entity. It is this aspect of the bed and breakfast that attracts the larger share of visitors, rather than its peaceful and beautiful surroundings. However, for some, it is a little more than they bargained for. There are accounts of guests leaving in the middle of the night in sheer panic, no less, without any explanation. And, babe, are you doing okay?
You better not leave me here alone either, though.
Don't worry, baby, I will not leave you here alone. So after I left the room, I decided to start recording some video of the grounds. I was a little surprised that I didn't see any other people about because it was a pleasant evening and I knew there were dozens of other guests. I guess they just felt like a night in, or maybe they're too smart to walk into pitch darkness surrounded by an alleged haunted property. After a few minutes walking the grounds, my mind wandered to the tour we took earlier and I started to recall the stories we heard, the most prominent of which was Chloe's tale. Chloe was a slave and a nursemaid to the twin sons of the plantation owner, and as indentured servitude goes, she was in one of the more favorable positions. Working inside the main house, her only responsibilities were the care of the two small boys. Unfortunately, she had the bad habit of eavesdropping on the household's conversations, and, as it turns out, it was the root to her undoing. She was caught, with her ear to the door, her master on the other side busy with business associates. As punishment, the offending ear was cut off, and she was banished from the household and set to work with the kitchen staff. However, although despondent and desperate, Chloe set to scheme her way back into the household in any way that she could. Some time after her punishment, she learned that the family was planning a birthday party for the twin boys, and she saw this as an opportunity. Oleander is a poisonous plant ubiquitous to the area. She reasoned that she could extract a small amount of it and mix it in the cake batter for the birthday cake. When the boys became sick, it was her hope that the family would order her back to care for the boys, since she had done it already. But that's not what happened. Her desperation to get back into the house did not help her deduce what amount of the poison would be too much, and tragedy was the result. Both of the boys die. Within hours of the party, their little hearts ceased to beat, as Oleander is known for causing cardiac arrest. When Chloe learns this, she is overcome with hysterical remorse. She flees to the slaves' quarters and confesses her deed to the people there, in the hopes that they would shelter her. But they didn't. Chloe was hung for her crime from a tall oak on the other side of a nearby river. It was believed at the time that the spirits of the deceased would not cross a body of water, so it was hoped that her spirit would stay away from the Myrtles. But it didn't. Many occupants of the house since, as well as visitors and guests today, have seen Chloe's spirit, still wandering the grounds, still tending to the household. Her image has been captured a few times by amazed guests, as well as causing those same guests a fair amount of distress when she tucks them in at night. But she is not the only spirit from that tragedy to still wander the grounds. It seems that the boys are too fond of the only home they knew and their former nursemaid to leave. But Chloe's tale is not the only paranormal legend of the Myrtles, just the most well-known. The plantation itself was built on top of an old Indian burial ground, and the ghost of a young Native American woman has been observed in the property. During the Civil War, the house was ransacked by Union soldiers, and 3 of them were supposedly killed on the grounds. A mirror in the entryway of the house is said to hold the images of Sarah Woodruff and her 2 young sons, the very same ones poisoned by Chloe. There is a tradition of covering the mirrors in the house when someone dies, and apparently this one was missed, and the spirits are trapped there forever. Then there is the ghost that walks, staggers, then crawls on the main stairway. The ghost of William Drew Winter, who dies on the 17th step after being shot, and the only verified murder recorded. There are 9 others that were not. And then there is Sarah. She died of yellow fever at the age of 3 and is said to be quite fond of long hair, as she likes to tug on it. There are also accounts of her peering over the end of a bed inside guest rooms during the night, engaging in long conversations with the guest. But are any of these legends true? Is there activity of the paranormal kind in the house? Did I find anything? Well, yes, I think I did. In one of the first video shoots I made, you can see an orb floating into frame and then disappearing. There it is. Cycling over the pictures I took of the interior of the house, I see a humanoid shadow reflected on one of the side mirrors in the dining hall. You can see a figure hunched over. Throughout the night, I kept waking up, creaks on the floor and soft whispers that could have been part of a dream. And my wife, who told me in the morning that her hair was pulled twice. She was facing me at the time and too afraid to turn and face her assailant or even wake me up. They were not hard pulls, more like soft, inquisitive ones. So if you're interested in the paranormal and want a chance of experiencing something unusual in a relaxed, beautiful setting, give the Myrtles a try. Enjoy the quiet historical setting, and who knows, you might make some interesting friends. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share, and like, and I will bring more content to you soon.